Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Inside Lowell Daily Pulse, the Thursday, June 12th edition of the Daily Pulse. I'm your host, Teddy Panos, coming to you from the Well Point Studios here in beautiful downtown Lowell. Back in the saddle again after taking a day off yesterday to enjoy my daughter's graduation ceremony from preschool 4. And she's already had, this is her 3rd graduation. And she's got one more coming up in kindergarten next year. So as I like to joke, she'll have had 4 graduation ceremonies. I kid you not, 4 graduation ceremonies, and she'll still only be 6 years old. Sign of progress. At least she's making it through. If I had known that this was in store, I'd have probably had a graduation ceremony for her when she, got out of diapers and into big girl underwear. But hey, life is what it is. I really appreciate Danielle McFadden, Madame President, stepping in yesterday to host the Daily Pulse. It's the first time I've handed over the reins of the show, but you know what? I kind of like it. I mean, might force her to do it more often. And she brought in some great guests, three great individuals doing some great work in the area, including one of my personal favorites, Matt LaLatcher, who managed to get in a Collie Stadium dig, or I should say a Collie Lowell High School dig. I appreciate that, Matt, and because of that, I'm going to pick up on that theme for a little bit today. But who's my guest today? Well, if you were paying attention during the opening shot there before I brought my ugly mug on camera, you see it. It's an empty chair. You know what that means. You've got to deal with me on this Thursday. We're going to dub it a theatrical Thursday because I've got a whole bunch of theater for you, but theater based on reality. And I want to talk about some of the theater based on fiction and how, well, I may have told you so on this show months ago. If you pay attention to the Daily Pulse or Inside Lowell, none of this stuff today is going to be new, but I'm going to use it as an opportunity to remind you again, pay attention to those who are accurate at predicting events and stop following those who lead you down the wrong path. We got a lot to talk about. Maybe if we have some time, we'll get in some feedback from some of our audience as well. First, let me thank my Daily Pulse sponsors, Ray Booten, licensed realtor, Massachusetts and New Hampshire, certified appraiser in both states as well. So if you are looking to buy or sell a home, a business, or a commercial property, you need to contact Ray Booten. You can find him online easily enough. realestaterayBooten.com. That's realestaterayBooten.com. Thank you as well to our friends at WellPoint. WellPoint, the only health plan offering healthcare benefits exclusively to Massachusetts GIC members at WellPoint. Your whole health is their whole point. Thanks to Ray, thanks to WellPoint. Got some other sponsors we'll thank too as we go along here, but let's get right to it. First, some major breaking news here in the city of Lowell, and it involves traffic in one of the city's main thoroughfares. We've been reporting it on our social media accounts, Facebook and Twitter. Woke up to it this morning, a tweet from the city of Lowell Police Department. But as you can see, we've got a major situation. You recognize that area. That's the Thorndike Exchange in the background. Thorndike Street in Lowell, arguably the main entry point in and out of the city, shut down right now for a water main break, and it is causing a major traffic headache. Let me just kind of show you a little bit. They're diverting cars coming inbound on Thorndike Street. The connector is off in the background, but you can see them. They're turning right onto Highland Avenue. The road is shut down between Highland and Appleton Street, so no way of kind of getting in and out of that area without getting detoured. And we've got some, let me pop up the photo again of the scene. But here's what we know. Here's what we've been told. The break involves a 12-inch water main. As of an hour or so ago, crews were kind of finishing up shutting everything down and in the process of formulating the plan for how to repair it and getting the information on what that repair entails, how long to repair it, how long to patch up the road. More importantly, for those of you commuting out there, how long to reopen the road and whether that comes in stages and bits and pieces or if it all happens at once. I don't know, but it sounds like from the information we've received, that we may be talking days, and not a matter of hours and minutes. But again, major traffic situation. Thorndike Street in Lowell shut down really kind of well, just past the YMCA area, Highland Street, heading in towards Appleton Street. And of course, the big fill crews working, as you can see already, to shut down the damage. It doesn't look all that bad there. It looks like that by this point in the photo that we took, they've kind of at least stopped the major flooding and water pouring onto the road, but it sounds like it's going to be a major repair. I was told it affects about 100 feet of roadway. So as you would imagine, you got to fix a 12-inch main, but it's affecting about 100 feet of roadway. Damn, that could be a little while. Avoid the area if at all possible today. Take some of the side roads, but plan extra time. Those side roads, any road feeding into that area is already seeing the after effects and the spillover traffic. So you're going to have some major delays. All right. On to a big event taking place tonight in the city of Lowell, a major news event, maybe. Tonight, let's go back to our trusty screen here. The Lowell School Building Committee, the committee that is overseeing the Lowell High School project, is going to meet and get an update, its monthly update on the project. Delayed from last week, and it was delayed with plenty of notice, but ostensibly to get that little highlighted area that I've got out there. Number 5 on your agenda, item A budget update. Tonight was supposed to be the night that we were going to find out how much the foundation issues that have set back the project by at least 1 year, how much it was going to cost. Well, some up-to-the-minute information that I got earlier this morning was we may not have that final figure tonight. Manager Golden has instructed the folks from Skanska, or told the folks from Skanska, don't come to us with a number that's going to change. We want to know the final number so we can then figure out exactly what it is, how we deal with it, how we try to seek that funding, whether there's a way to get it elsewhere, whether it's just simply going to be thrown onto the shoulders of the city of Lowell taxpayers. But my understanding as of this morning, and that may change, is you may not get a final number tonight as part of that budget update if Skanska does not have their figures cemented and zeroed in. So we'll wait. We'll watch the meeting. 6 p.m. tonight, I believe, is when. Let me go look at it again just to be sure. Yep, there you go. 6 p.m. tonight, taking place at Lowell City Hall in the mayor's reception room, and people will be able to participate by Zoom. But you know for sure that I will be watching and keeping an eye on this. Now then, on to the other thing that I'm starting to pick up, even though we don't have an exact number. Now, you remember, if you're a loyal watcher of the Daily Pulse, you probably heard this first revealed and since discussed on many Daily Pulse podcasts, but on the May 21st show, which featured former Lowell Mayor Bill Samaras and current Lowell City Councilor, District 3 City Councilor Corey Belanger, the odd couple as they were known. That's the title of the podcast, but the date was May 21st, Wednesday, May 21st, the odd couple. And you may remember this little snip from a bit of information that I received about the high school project and the issues that were created by the foundation and what it may cost. I want you to listen in. On June 12th, we will get a number, we believe, from Mr. Dowd.
Correct.
Now, there were some counselors who said, come on, Mr. Dowd, you know the number. You take the number of square feet versus add a year onto the project for time plus materials, whatever. You can probably figure out what it costs based on what you've already had to do for basement floor remediation. I was told, do not be surprised if that number comes north of $30 million.
30 million.
I was hearing, originally we were going with 10
20.
to 15, maybe 20.
Yeah.
I am now hearing, do not be surprised from people who know a thing or two about construction and foundations and what needs to be done. Do not be surprised if you hear a number north of $30 million.
Alarming. Alarming.
If you didn't catch it, and I'm hoping technically I was able to pull that off, but that was when I revealed some information I had been getting based on folks just saying, hey, look, it's X amount of square feet. We know about construction. While we may not have the exact number because timelines and how much extra time you need to pay the labor to do this work, how much it sets back other work and blah, blah, blah. But the information I was told that it may be north of $30 million. And that the number we've been working with, just kind of assuming here at Inside Lowell, here on the Daily Pulse, is the cost overrun, the latest cost overruns will bring the $381 million project up another $30 million, at least, up to $411 million. Now, within the last day or so, I know the city council had a meeting, an executive session set the other night to talk about this. I have not gotten confirmation. I haven't been given a number, but I have been told, don't be surprised if your number was off, Teddy, and way off, and not in a good way. So what does that mean? Does that mean 32 million, 35 million? Does it mean 40 million? Does it mean whatever? I don't know. We were hoping to find out tonight, but it appears that we're not going to get that information tonight either, at least if what I'm hearing as of this morning is correct. Again, will that change? Will 𝐃𝐚𝐢𝐥𝐲 and Mr. Dowd come in with a concrete number tonight? Pardon the pun. Concrete foundation number? Who knows? But my $30 million number that I've been working with as part of my discussions with all my guests here on the Daily Pulse, I'm now hearing may have been off, way off. What a disaster. What a disaster. And again, I simply remind folks that, look, we're not fighting Matt LaLatcher. I appreciate the Colley Stadium location for the high school interjection into yesterday's podcast. I know you were on the right side of this and you paid a political price for it, and I'm glad you stayed involved, unlike so many others who just kind of washed their hands and walked away. But, we need to get this done one way or another. And yep, I hate to tell you, Lowellians, Lowell residents, Lowell business owners, anyone who pays taxes in the city of Lowell, you are more than likely going to have to pick up the full brunt of whatever that number is, and you don't really have a choice. And you shouldn't have a choice. We need to get this done right. The last thing we need to do is cut corners yet again, as they did in 97, as they did in 80. When they told you all the hazardous materials, the asbestos, the lead, whatever is in there, had been remediated. And we told you in 2017, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. When we told you there are structural issues that would cost way more than the projected cost, we were right. Others were wrong. Again, not revisiting that, that's water under the bridge. Not going to cry over spilled milk. Going to always lament the fact that we spilled the milk. But the reminder is there are still people making important decisions about other projects in this city, about other visions for the city. and they have a direct influence on it, and they're continuing to tell you their expert opinions on certain things going forward. I don't believe a word they say, because I know that they were way off in 2017. There are some people who told you this will happen, and it's happened. Now, the other side will tell you, well, even if you had decided to build that school up in Belvedere on the Colley Stadium site, you would have run into similar issues that would have skyrocketed the cost. Prove it. You can't, because we don't know. That scenario never happened. What we told you would happen has happened. So we've been proven correct. All of us that told you this would happen, including the politicians who stuck their neck on the line, the wannabe politicians who put their name on the ballot and stuck their name on the line, they told you. They were right. The other side can tell you, well, we would have been right, but why would I believe you? You told me the asbestos was removed from that building. It wasn't. It wasn't. You had to pay more to remediate. That's why you started going through the contingency fund like a drunken sailor on shore leave before you learned about the foundational issues. You told us the water issues and the foundation issues, under control, under control. You were wrong. So why should I believe you when you tell me we're going to have the same problems? We would have had the same problem somewhere else. And again, we're not going to cry over spilled milk, but why should I believe you about anything else you say going forward, other policy decisions? I don't trust you. You may be right, but I'm not just going to take your word for it, because you were wrong about the most important decision the city of Lowell has faced in its last, 40, 50 years, the construction of that high school. You were wrong. So why should I take your word for it? Why should anybody take your word for it? And that's my advice to folks out there. Start to pay attention to the people who were right about this big issue, because they're probably right about a lot of other things going forward. And maybe it's time to listen to them. All right. You're tuned into the Inside Lowell Daily Pulse, the show that keeps its finger on the pulse of the city of Lowell and the world around it. We're going to shift over to the world around it in a quick moment, but want to thank our Daily Pulse sponsors, Ray Booten, licensed realtor in Mass and New Hampshire. Find him online, realestaterayBooten.com. Thank you as well to our friends at WellPoint. At WellPoint, your whole health is their whole point. Thank you to Washington Savings Bank, banking that goes the extra mile. Even when I give you a carbon tax on that extra mile. Make the switch now to Washington Savings Bank. TMI Properties, quality and value at every price point. Find your perfect space with TMI. Mahoney Oil, providing warmth and protection to Greater Lowell and Southern New Hampshire for a century. That's right, since 1925. Great company, even better people. I'm dying to get them in here to introduce you to them and talk a little bit about some of the other things that they do for our community. Speaking of community, thank you to the Greater Lowell Community Foundation, improving the quality of life in our communities through strategic, impactful philanthropy. Francis E. Prevention Insurance, the agency Greater Lowell is trusted to protect its most valued assets since 1982, and by the Massachusetts Pirates, bringing all the hard-hitting action and excitement of arena football to the Mill City this Saturday. The Pirates in Iowa to take on the Barnstormers. They'll be back home Saturday, June 21st to face the Tulsa Oilers. Grab your tickets now and root the home team on to victory at the Tusongas Center. All right, back to the Daily Pulse on this theatrical Thursday, June 12th edition. Theatrical Thursday. Why? Well, lots of theatrics going on across the country, right? Riots, peaceful protests, as the folks will tell you, while police cars are burning and cinder blocks are being thrown on the heads of, or at the heads of Los Angeles police officers, law enforcement officials, ICE officials, National Guard, whoever the case may be. Those protests are spreading to Chicago, to New York, and yes, they're coming to Boston. And a lot of folks concerned about the theatrics on this Saturday, Flag Day, when it's being dubbed as a day of nationwide protests, the No Kings Day, as is being dubbed out there. Hopefully these issues don't come to Boston, anywhere else in Massachusetts, and certainly not here in our communities, but when George Soros is pumping some money in to cause disruptions, I won't hold my breath. I'll still be concerned. But can we talk a little bit of reality about some of the stuff in DC and whatnot? And this goes back to what we talked about locally. And why would you trust people who continuously lie to you? On April 3rd, I did a show. We dubbed it a Thrilling Thursday show, but you can go back and watch it on April 3rd, where I was talking about the tariffs. You remember that right at that time, President Trump had talked about his tariff plans. He had started to institute his tariffs, and there's been a lot of back and forth on them. But you were told a number of things were going to happen because of those tariffs. The immediate aftermath was the stock market went down significantly. I tried to tell you that day, don't panic. If you have a little extra money, now's the time to buy because that market will rebound and then some. And sure enough, the stock market very quickly rebounded and then some. Don't know about you, but my mutual funds have been up since April 1st, even before the market went down. Certainly they've been up since April 3rd, but, people still panicked. They also told you about inflation. Oh, this is going to drive up the price of everything you get. Prices will skyrocket, and the middle class and lower class Americans, they were going to suffer with higher expenses and all this other stuff. Well, yesterday we received economic news for the month of May, the second month of the tariff-driven inflation explosion. Explosion. Do you know what your inflation rate was in May? 0.008%, or 0.008, or 0.08%, less than 1%, which if you carry it out over 12 months of inflationary growth is less than 1% growth in the annual inflation. 0.08%, which is 0.0008, or we'll call it 1%, just to give, make everybody feel better. 0.01, 1%. Where's the inflation explosion? That number's lower than it had been previously, which was lower than it had been previously, and lower than the Biden era inflation. So Donald Trump has gotten that right as well. The tariffs did not cause an explosion in inflation. Oh, sure, the news entities, including one here in Lowell, will tell you, well, in surprising numbers in spite of the tariffs. No, there were people who told you, don't be surprised if those numbers don't go up, because they're not going to. The tariffs will actually work. The tariffs will return business to America, which we'll talk about in a quick second, but I do want to ask this question. So now that we know that inflation has not run away, as we were told was going to happen, why isn't the Federal Reserve lowering interest rates? Which is, by the way, higher interest rates is another hidden. It's not a tax because there are private banks and monetary agencies making this money, but it's a tax. It's an expense to the working people. You see it when you buy a car. You see it when you buy a home. You see it on your credit card. Look at your credit card bills and what you're paying for interest today compared to the pre-inflationary days. You're paying a hell of a lot more. The Fed can alleviate a lot of that. What you pay to borrow money, what you pay to charge things on your credit card by lowering interest rates. But Chairman Powell has been loath to do it. Why? Well, he's anticipating an inflationary spike. So we got to get inflation under control. Inflation's under control. It's time for you to demand they lower the rates. It's time for you people to start speaking up. Again, it's time for you to look at the people who lied to you. I say lied. Best case opinion, they had an economic opinion of what the effects of tariffs would be, and they told you it was going to skyrocket the prices that you're paying. So maybe they were just wrong. Maybe they didn't lie to you. Maybe they were just wrong, but they were wrong. They were wrong. So why would you listen to them about the economy and other policies going forward? Who was right? Donald Trump was right. I was right. Go watch that April 3rd show. I told you what was going to happen. I was right. I told you any short-term pain you felt was going to be more than made up for on the backside with the creation of good-paying American jobs and the massive increase in production in the United States of America of goods. We were going to stop having our companies open up headquarters in other countries. We were going to stop having our countries exporting jobs. We talked about Ross Perot and what he told you in 1992 and 1994, and he was bleeping right. Okay? That giant sucking sound you heard was all of your jobs and all of your wealth going to Mexico, to Canada, to other parts of the world. They told you this. Other people told you, no. One of them was Al Gore. Al Gore says a lot of things that haven't proven true, by the way. But anyway, we'll save that. I don't want to alert the YouTube free speech censors. But why are you going to continue to listen to the people who were so wrong about this? Start to listen to the people who were right about this. We're not always going to be right. Opinions are opinions. Sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. But when you're consistently wrong on opinions, you lose my faith. Right? I stop paying attention to your opinion. I'll listen to it, but I won't believe it. And even when you're right, I may, if you're right enough times going forward, I'll rebuild my trust in you, but it's gone. I'm not going to believe you. But again, we should, at the very least, have the Fed decrease interest rates so that you can pay less on what you borrow and what you charge on your credit card. Donald Trump told you we were going to get trade deals with China and other countries. Lo and behold, we're getting trade deals with China and other countries. As a matter of fact, this week, the president put out information about reaching a deal with China. He actually put it out last week, but it cemented it even more this week. India, Europe, other countries, we're making trade deals with them. Exactly what Donald Trump told you. Take a little stance. Take a stronger stance. Think of America first. Don't think of the world first. Don't think of the globalists and their agenda. America first. American people first. American workers. American citizens. That's a bad thing? It was, according to many people. Why? Are they enemies of America? Or are they just wrong politically over and over and over again? We were told these tariffs were not only going to lead to more advantageous terms on trade deals, but they were going to lead to massive investments in America. And we have seen it, including just yesterday. You may not have picked this up on your favorite news channel, your favorite propagandist station, your favorite, I'll say it, anti-American TV station. But this little interesting bit of news came out on June 10th, actually. GM, General Motors, to invest $4 billion in U.S. plants amid tariffs for Mexican-produced vehicles. Remember, that's the video clip we played for you on that April 3rd podcast, the April 3rd Daily Pulse. I told you, Ross Perot said the giant sucking sound you are going to hear is American jobs and American investment and American wealth going south to Mexico and everywhere else around the world. Look at this. This is CNBC. This is not Fox. This is not OAN or Newsmax or any MAGA-winged reporting agency. No. This is CNBC. There's the story. $4 billion invested by General Motors in plants to make automobiles in the United States of America, employing American workers. American union workers, by the way, make these automobiles. That $4 billion over the next 2 years is going into 3 Midwestern plants. I think one in Ohio, one in, I think, Kansas. Don't quote me on it, but you'll see it on the story. That is on top of 2 weeks ago, GM announced $888 million investment in one of their plants in Buffalo, New York. Again, America, investment in America, jobs in America. Why? Because They tell you there, GM realizes if they keep building their cars in Mexico and outside the United States of America to bring them into America and sell it, where the American consumer is the most desirable consumer on the planet, despite the warts and all of the United States of America. We have more money, more wealth than anybody else. We buy the cars, we buy the products. So if you want to sell your cars in America, you would pay more under the tariffs that Donald Trump instituted on places like Mexico and everywhere else. If you want to build those cars in America instead, no tariffs. And the added benefit, the wealth, the investment, the jobs, all stay in America. That's a bad thing, right? Isn't that what all the anti-Trumpers told us? Isn't that why at this point aren't they celebrating this? Why isn't this being celebrated? Why you understand now why all the focus is on illegal immigration and ICE and that boogeyman, right? Because they don't want to tell you about this. They don't want to have to talk about this because that's good news. And why on earth would we want to report good economic news about the United States of America? Why on earth would we want to report about the less than 1% inflation increase in May, the job creation in America? No. We don't want to report on that because then we'd have to say, ooh, crap. We were wrong. He, the orange-haired ogre, was right. And by extension, so were a lot of us who told you what was going to happen. You want to keep listening to the leftists who I will tell you flat out hate this country. My opinion, but their actions certainly show that they hate this country, and they will root for the decline of the American economy and American/Western civilization if it means that their political goals are proven wrong and don't get met. Just look at that headline right there one more time, folks, while I take a little sip of water. Investment in America. It's not just automobiles, folks. The headlines are there. You can find them. You have to know where to look. Google won't help you much, but if you dig far enough on Google or a different search engine, or if you just go to Twitter, you can find it. It's automobiles, it's lumber, it's steel, it's semiconductors, it's energy production, it's everything from the future. All the technologies of the future are staying home in America or coming back home to America. And these companies that offshored their jobs and their operations in order to avoid taxes in America and in order to avoid paying the standard of living that American workers get compared to workers overseas. Why do you think all the sneaker factories pretty much went to China over the last 40, 50 years? If your labor's $1 an hour, $2 an hour, slave labor in some cases in China. Yes, slavery is alive and well in China as you buy their products while boycotting other companies here in America, you dolts. If those jobs stay here in America, yeah, the price of an Air Jordan Nikes might be more expensive if that sneaker is made in America. And I say might be more expensive because what are you paying for them? $100, $150, $200 for a pair of sneakers? They're making them for $1, $2 an hour in China. What are they going to raise the price to $400 because they got to come here to America and pay whatever the minimum wage is? It's $15 in Massachusetts, but we get benefits, we get pensions, we get all sorts of things. Like, they're not. How much can they jack up the price? They're not going to. This whole thing, this whole economic theory of the leftists, of the globalists, it's a fallacy. And day by day, it is being proven incorrect. The globalists told you, oh, no, this will make life better for everybody in the world and for the Americans. No. They were wrong. Now that it's coming back to America, you will see the rebuilding, the slow rebuilding of the middle class and the lower classes having an opportunity to rise into middle class and upper classes through good, solid, industrial jobs here in the United States of America. Do I know all the specifics of it? No. Can I spell it out for you as brilliantly as some economists can? No. But I'm telling you, I spelled something out for you on April 3rd, and I'm going to pat myself on the shoulder here. I was right. They were wrong. You want to keep listening to them, sheeple? Do you want to keep listening to them? Do you want to keep listening to the globalists who can't stand this country, can't stand this state of Massachusetts? And yeah, there's a lot of them who can't stand the city of Lowell and what it represents. And they want to change it into their globalist, leftist, Marxist utopia. Don't let them. Don't let them. Fight back. Fight back. Arm yourself with the knowledge. I'm giving you some knowledge here. Remember who was right, whether it was the high school thing, whether it was the economics of tariffs and some of the other economic policies of Donald Trump and others. Trump didn't do it alone. There were others with him. Remember who was right, and remember who's being proven wrong every single day. And ask yourself, who are you going to listen to? Pretty obvious answer. Unless you are so far gone, unless you so loathe the United States of America, and so you're so stricken with Trump derangement syndrome that you don't care. You don't care that you're wrong because you just don't want to see him get a victory, and you'll watch this country decline and burn so that he doesn't get credit for being right. He was right about the tariffs. It actually happened faster than even the most optimistic people thought it would happen. We're barely 2 months into the quote-unquote tariff period. You know, I figured it'd probably be 6 months of, some pain. Not excruciating pain, but there would be a sacrifice of 6 months before everything came back to America. Turns out, took less than 2 months, especially when you consider their $888 million in Buffalo and all the others. There are many other examples like General Motors, companies investing in the United States of America across all industries, across all production. Who do you want to believe? The globalists, the Marxists, the localists, as I'll call them, who steered you wrong on everything, including that soon-to-be very expensive high school? Or do you want to believe those of us who were being proven correct and are being proven correct each and every day? All right, not bad. I've gotten through my agenda here, my Daily Pulse agenda. So let me just work in 2 bits of feedback. I appreciate all of you who are commenting, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook or social media. And by the way, a ton of traffic on the Inside Lowell website and social media accounts regarding a bunch of stories. We actually had a professor who at an area business school write a column about the market basket situation and how the workers today are different from 2014 and what that might mean for how this saga plays out. A ton of traffic, a ton of feedback on that, a lot of stuff also about some other stories we run. We showed you photos yesterday of the Smith Baker Center, the interior, what it looked like as of June 10th. Check that out as well. Go to InsideLowell.com, go to our Facebook page, our Twitter, our Instagram account, and you can see all of it. And please leave your feedback, and I appreciate it. I'll get to as much of it as I can on the shows, and we're also working on a way to bring you a show that is all about feedback, a live show that will have discussions and feedback in real time at noontime. Well, more on that once we've cemented it, but that's what we are working on. And by the way, if you'd like to be a sponsor of that show, if you'd like to join Ray Booten, if you'd like to join WellPoint, if you'd like to join our other Inside Lowell sponsors, please send me an email, teddypanos@InsideLowell.com. Or you can also, if you don't know how to spell Teddy Panos, you can send it to info@InsideLowell.com. Jose in Lowell, Jose Cervantes, District 7, I think. That's the Acre neighborhood. City council candidate. Responding to the podcast from yesterday, the Daily Pulse from yesterday with Danielle McFadden and Matt LaLatcher and Brian Durkin and, I'm drawing a blank. Ryan Rourke. Sorry, Ryan. So many Rourkes out there, I forgot your name. But Ryan Rourke was here with them, and they were talking with Danielle about get involved in your community. If you're involved, you suddenly become part of the what is called the It was, Matt LaLachie kind of explained it. The quote unquote shadow government is really just citizens who are involved. And they're active, so they get heard. They get heard. If you're not active, you don't get heard. Jose Cervantes says, amen to that. Be the change you want to see. From my conversation with individuals in District 7, they feel disenfranchised and powerless from being whispered sweet nothings by candidates throughout the years. It's a 50-50 issue, and the candidates/incumbents need to do a better job of getting the community engaged, and the community needs to do their job as Americans and be more informed and vote. Yes. Yes, Jose. We can dump on government all we want. Government's not going to solve all your problems, but they will listen to them and maybe take your advice on which direction to go in solving these problems if you're engaged, if you're informed, and if you reach out to them both 364 days a year and then actually on that 365th day of the year, get out and vote. Jose, you are 100% right. If you wait for the politicians to do it for you, they're going to listen to the people who are reaching out to them. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? If you can't even be bothered to reach out and advocate for something that you feel passionately and strongly about, why should I go out of my way to tick off the person who feels the other way and advocate for you? Oh, sure, you do it because you want to advocate for everybody, but you want to make sure that your side, your opinion, your thoughts, your ideas are advocated for? Then get active, get engaged, and get informed. That's the other part. I'm glad you kind of put that in there, Jose. Be more informed than vote. Don't just go vote because you see a name on a law sign or because somebody told you to do this or that or blah, blah, blah. Inform yourself, and there's a number of ways to do it. That's one of the things we pride ourselves on here at Inside Lowell. We're trying to provide information, and you all know my thoughts, my opinions, but I open this platform up to everybody. Everybody can share their thoughts, their opinion. Everybody is invited to submit special guest columns, opinion pieces, op-eds, whatever you want. Many take advantage of it. Many just want to go bitch, quietly or on social media. At least you're bitching publicly. Please do so under your real name instead of creating fake names. But, I appreciate the fact that you're doing it. But at least if you're reading our information, you're getting more informed. Are you knowing everything about your community? No. But between Inside Lowell, between the Lowell Sun, between WCAP, those are your local media entities. Go to your local social media pages. And yes, I'll even give a plug for the Lowell Live Feed Forum, even though it's inundated with some of the folks that I was picking on earlier, the globalists and Marxists and localists. It's still a way to hear what your community is saying, what they care about, what they're talking about. Read Dick Howe's Substack. Ryan Oates has a Substack, a passionate, involved citizen. I agree with very little of what he says, but he cares enough to put information out there. So if you're reading Ryan Oates, if you're reading Dick Howe, if you're reading the Lowell Sun, if you're reading Inside Lowell or watching the Daily Pulse podcast, you will get a diversity of opinions. How's that word, huh? You will get a DEI, diversity, equality, and inclusion of opinions that you can then formulate your own opinions. You get the information, get it put out, read from a variety of sources, get informed, and then go out and vote. And you'll be amazed at how quickly your voice gets recognized. Politicians listen. Sometimes all it takes is 5 of them to show up at a city council or school committee meeting and advocate. And I've seen opinions change. I've seen people who were set to vote one way change their mind and vote another. And that's because the activists show up. The problem with that is if it's the same activists over and over again, are they speaking for 120,000 residents? It's easier if you speak for yourself, if you advocate for yourself. And if enough people do that on all sides, then you can develop a consensus. Thank you, Jose, for pointing that out. And thank you for throwing in, don't just go out and vote, be more informed to go out and vote. Michael Porter's, we were talking last week with Mike Bacigalupo. I believe it was on our Big Fun Friday podcast about hiring practices. The one pet peeve, Michael writes, of HR practices is ghosting applicants by never, ever telling applicants the status of their job application, ever. So, Michael, I don't know, I invite people to come in and apply at the Athenian Corner restaurant, the restaurant my family runs. We never take an online application. If you send an online application, I don't think we currently have a way to see it because we no longer do the Indeed and this stuff. I want to see you. I want to meet you. I want to speak to you in person when you come in and apply. But I know sometimes if we post a job out there, we get inundated with applications, which for us is what, 5, 10, 15, maybe 20 at any point. We try to reply to everyone, say, hey, we've got your application. You're under, we're evaluating it, and we'll reach out to the people that we're interested in. Some places put out a job posting and get hundreds, if not thousands, depending on the company and the size of the company, of applications. You can't reply to everybody. You can't be expected to reply to everybody. Maybe a standard email. Hey, thank you for your application. We are in receipt of it, and you will be included in the job pool that we will then make our decision on. But come on, you can't really go tell everybody. It's unrealistic. Otherwise, your human resource office would be spending its entire time just sending out updates. Oh, by the way, we had the first round of cuts. You made it. You didn't make it. Oh, we had the second round of cuts. You're still in the running. Oh, we had to. Send the application, an acknowledgement of it. If you meant something different by it, please feel free to elaborate in a future comment on this podcast, and I'd be happy to listen to it. But if your point is you never get told that we've received your application, you've got a valid point. At the very least, some generic form response. You can just hit standard signature reply, however it's done. We are in receipt of your application. Thank you for taking the time to apply to the City of Lowell, to the University of Massachusetts Lowell, to InsideLowell, to wherever. Thank you. We'll be in touch if you are under further consideration. However the wording is. But if that was your point, yeah, you got a valid point. And I certainly hope that the City of Lowell and every other organization at least does that, although I can see where it would get time consuming. At the very least, they owe you to say, yeah, we've gotten your thing. It was one of my pet peeves whenever I was applying for sports reporter jobs back in the 90s. I'd spend the $15 to send out a next day resume tape along with my resume and a cover letter, and I'd never hear back whether they received it or not. I know that on the 3 or 4 occasions that I received a reply, I was ecstatic. They got my stuff. They'll consider I know they at least have it. So now I know whether I made it or not. But I get your point, if that was your point. But if you're looking for something more, like an update every step along the way, I don't think that's reasonable. Thank you to Michael. Thank you to Jose. Thanks to all of you who've been chiming in. Again, the Daily Pulse drops every day at noon here on InsideLowell.com. As we like to say at Inside Lowell, if Lowell is your home, this is your place. Till tomorrow, everybody enjoy a gorgeous day. Stay cool. It's going to be a little warm out there today, and we'll catch you on the other side.